Yay! Oh. Peace, YouTube. This is Fleur Broom coming to you late. I'm sorry, it took me a while to get on. You hear all this electrical, you listen to, oh, I'm getting like electrocuted. AIs are on. You hear all, you hear all that? That's AI trying to loop my videos. Sounds crazy, right? This is how the big YouTubers see Fleur Broom. I am the most, I will poke at a bear until the bear tries to come. Remember, I got weapons of mass love. Okay, let me cut it out. Let me cut it out. Peace to the east, the west, the north, and the south. This is Fleur Broom coming to you today by way of AI. Big up to YouTube. I really appreciate YouTube. I thought it was very interesting with the special effects yesterday with me looping 50 million times. No, I don't think that was YouTube. I personally think I'm collapsing timelines. So anyway, big up to everyone. I'm sorry I was late. You know, just to get on sometimes. Tonight is Aquarius Rising coming back online. I will do it live and then I will pull off the video and bring it on Patreon. So for anyone joining tonight, I have a C-Star coming on. We're talking about the transference of wombs into children, and also talking about children that are showing up in PR on social networks, gender neutral, or promoting something that is personally we take as part of possibly a new way of pedophilia, kind of advertising itself, putting children as a poster child. So I have a wonderful C-Star who's coming on tonight. That's an amazing conversation. So join us tonight at 9:00 p.m. Eastern for Aquarius Rising Ninth Gate. We're gonna get into the big AI infiltration via big YouTubers. We heard that Nature Not, I had a dream about Nature Not being free on Monday night, Tuesday morning, and they freed him. Nicaragua has transferred him to another location. He's been deported once again from another country. Hopefully the United Snakes of America will take his passport and disallow this being from traveling anywhere where I may closely be. So big up to Nicaragua for extraditing a reptilian out of your country, because he is diabolical, and I think you did exactly the right thing, just like Costa Rica did, and just like Belize did, and Mexico did. This being has been kicked out of 4 countries now. And I told you the diabolical ones won't have a safe haven anywhere. So big up to them for taking some incentive, you know, in the initiative to get rid of those beings out of your country. So anyway, so we're gonna get into the big YouTubers being infiltrated by AI, the content creators. Big up to all of you AI propaganda, you know, agent infiltrated beings that are here on YouTube creating chaos and confusion via your initial assignment by the government. Okay, so family, you know, I noticed especially yesterday after I got glitched for the 50th time. You know, personally, I'm just saying yesterday, I think it was a combination platter. I personally don't think it was actually YouTube. I think there's a collapsing of timelines. I think because I show up outside of the perimeters of the matrix, sometimes you will see glitching happen on this end. And I think it's actually much more naturally unnatural than it is by any outside interception. I disallow any beings from really chaotically affecting me. So we're gonna get into big YouTubers, a lot of these big named YouTubers that are basically keeping a certain type of frequency on, what we consider to be the free media. Now, many years ago, many of you realized that we had gotten a wave of open World Wide Web. When the World Wide Web came about, it was kind of like a free-for-all, okay? So remember, there weren't any restrictions. People were able to go online, talk about whatever they wanted. It was actually free form. I'm not quite sure. I don't have per se the actual year that that YouTube came about. I remember I actually was mated. Remember, big up to anyone who knows, I originally was seeing a previous really big YouTuber at the time. He was big as far as YouTube was in the beginning status. He's since passed away. Big up to Warren, who was one of my loves. Passed away quite a few years ago. He was the one who introduced me to YouTube when I had my little one. Now, YouTube and the World Wide Web came online. A lot of people came online without any restrictions. There weren't really any major, I don't think there was any major regulations at the time, if I'm not mistaken, when YouTube and the World Wide Web kind of unleashed itself. As time became, and you know that they like to follow the pattern, and when I say they, we're talking about the establishment. Whatever country you come from, they all have an establishment, especially they have their own, dark ops have their own collective group of, scientists and techies that watch the ebb and flow of humanity, how to manipulate humanity, once again, a little bit more. So with that comes a sort of preempt of infiltration. Now, if many of you are from this community, you already realize that we've had tons of intel talking about the dark op programs, governmental programs that had Project Looking Glass, Project Pegasus, the Project Paperclip. These are all governmental sects that were created in order to either create programs to manipulate the populace by using technology to interface with your basic biology. And also there was Project Looking Glass that had utilized people's natural abilities. There's special people who are able to see into the future, different forms of different timelines, and be able to bring that intel back. And they utilize those futuristic intellists to be able to manipulate populace in certain ways. One of the ways that they've utilized intercepting with us in a way that would pretty much mold us into believing that they are, people that are sent into the World Wide Web via YouTube or other social media networks that are, cloaking themselves as love and light. The love and light community, or ET Intellist, or, UFO whistleblowers, or just whistleblowers, what have you. They preempted this. And many of you see it in the conscious, pseudo-conscious community, who we see this openly and almost like an open, firing squad on the conscious community. Many of the different beings that you see preempt in the conscious community, I'm talking about the brown conscious community, were beings that came on with the premise of the very awakening genres that many of us were getting privy to at the time. You'll see a lot of them come out, and many of, I'll put a couple of names out there. I'm not going to put every name out there because I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm trying to be an infiltrator. No, I'm not trying to be a hater, but there's a couple. So let's talk about the basic agent provocateurs that were sent into the carbon community, the pseudo-conscious. You always hear me say pseudo-conscious community, the brown community. You have big ones like Brother Polite, who's one infiltrator who showed up on the scene. And again, you have someone like a lot of males, okay? There are females based in this, but I'm gonna give you a lot of males. You have Brother Polite, you have Umar Johnson, you have people like Nature Not, which is known as a Legio pseudo bishop. You have beings like, what's his name? What's that new guy's name? I forgot his name. Sanetta is the biggest provocateur Satanist who has created a platform which allows for a lot of these inceptive agents to be on the scene. Now, personally, I think that he isn't necessarily governmentally based on it, but I personally, this is my opinion, I think he's Satanist based. That's why his name in, if you take it as an anagram, you can take his name around and it spells Satan. Okay, so if you think that's by chance, then, you're not really part of our community, because you realize there aren't any coincidences. The man's name in itself, Sarnetta, is basically a anagram of Satan. Okay. And there's a lot of Satanists in the brown community. If you don't know, now you know. So, they'll say all day they're the Dark Lords. They'll tell you where they are. They rock the Baphomet, and the Baphomet is not. Now, let me state this. Flurburn is quite vetted in symbolism, not to the greatest degree, but pretty efficient. I know a lot of people say, oh, the Baphomet is something ancient from ancient Kemet, and we utilize it in a way that shapeshifts it into a more positive state of being. I think there are a few that may take that and agree with that. I disagree. I think sometimes some symbols aren't interchangeable in that way, especially if the domineering usage of the symbol is purely being used for evil. So if a symbol is being dominated by Satanists and perpetually used domineering by the group. Now, I think there are certain things that we can utilize that it can be more balanced, like the 13, the black cat, things like that, because that's not as strong, it's not as on one side of the pendulum as the other. We can kind of balance it out with our numbers. When you take things like, even with the swastika, even though it was a Native American, actually it was an ancient, that was also an ancient Kemetic symbol, Native Indigenous symbol that was used in flip mode and used with the neo-Nazis in the Nazi regime, and it's been utilized now within the neo-Nazi populace now, and utilizing it as a form of propaganda to create, to basically perpetuate hate, separatism, white empowerment, whatever they call it. Everybody has their own placement in the matrix. I'm not here to judge them. I'm just here to call it out. So you have a lot of these different sects that are coming up, especially in the pseudo-conscious community. And one of the prefaces for some of these big tubers, when they come out, they generally have like general consensus, general behaviors, general pattern of behavior. Majority of them in the dark aspect of the agent provocateurs are, what do you call them? I can't ever. Sometimes I have so much in my mind and I want to get it out. Basically, they're all polygamous. Okay, so polygamous sect. Now, if people have an issue with me calling out polygamy, let me state this: there hasn't ever been a polygamous sect, whether it's been brown beings perpetuating that, males, or lunar beings, especially in the Midwest, in the Mormon communities, and some of the, the evangelist communities that are now in Middle America and in Europe, and also in Brazil. There hasn't ever been, to my knowledge, maybe you could share it, Sea Stars and Sun Stars, because sometimes you like to get on me when I talk about polygamous. There hasn't ever been a healthy polygamous society that had a balanced disposition with matriarchy and patriarchy in a healthy, cohesive way. Usually whenever you have a society that is placating itself as a polygamous society, I don't care if it's, the Muslim society, the evangelist Christian, Mormons in the Middle America, or the new pseudo-conscious community that's perpetuating this polygamous agenda, it is purely for the suppression and the controlling of the matriarchy that allows for that type of behavior or that type of propaganda to keep a hold on a society. Okay, there hasn't been a society where the women in a society where it's purely polygamous have been healthy or free or had a happy disposition in that society. Let's just state that, because if it was a healthy and a natural state of being, women would want it just as much as men. That's how you know it isn't healthy. Anything that is balanced or nature-based, even in an unhealthy society, a lot of males in the brown community will say, oh, well, polygamy is healthy because you know, we know it was practiced in long time ago. Yeah, beheading people in the middle of the street happened a long time ago. You know, raping children was okay a long time ago in a lot of societies. Killing, murdering, and skinning people and shrinking their heads was acceptable in old society. So just because it was doesn't mean it should be something that's perpetuated or replicated in a modern day society. To state that. Okay, so we're talking about aspect. Then we have beings that are in the pseudo love and light community, where you have the heading of beings such as David Wilcock. That's more of the ET sect. You have some of the other beings like what is his name? There's quite a few. I've got to think of names on top of the heads. You know, I have them written down. But let me just state this. We have huge YouTube presence. Someone said Stephen Greer. You guys are asking me about Stephen Greer lately. Is something going on with Stephen Greer that I don't know? Many of you, hey Nadar, many of you have to realize that just like on television, when they knew and they preempted us on television, when they knew that we would wake up, they knew that we would question basic social media, the media that we're usually accustomed to getting our news from, which was NBC, CBS, Fox News, all of the major networks. They knew that we would wake up to a point where we weren't going to trust that. And once they saw an opportunity to jump into a world which was highly unmonitored in the World Wide Web, coming with huge social media platforms, that not only were they able to watch us, to basically monitor us and watch and also create ways electronically to basically monitor the ebbs and flows of general society in the social media. They began to incept by sending provocateurs like what's his name? He was kicked off. What's his name? What's his name again? Well, Tommy's another one. Tommy Sotomayor. That's another. He's an agent. I know. My personal opinion is Tommy Sotomayor is part of the perpetrated aspect of social media that was set out to cause upheaval and also to create a kind of like a diversion of an awakening. Because all he does is pretty much talk about brown women. This is a brown man, talks about brown women in a very disorderly way. But in the meantime, he promotes a form of separatism that isn't really based in any reality that he's even existing, because he does talk to brown women behind closed doors, and many of you could cop to that, because he's always in somebody's DM trying to get some play in the back from some chocolate. So I'm just calling you out, Tommy Sotomayor. Stop talking about snowflakes when you're in the DMs. A lot of brown women trying to get play. Anyway, so you have him. You have Alex Jones, you have David Icke, you have quite a few. I'm sorry, sometimes the names don't come for me right away. You have a lot of these major beings, Hasim Campbell, who came on the scene lately. You have a lot more people that come on lately that are newer YouTubes that kind of blow up. And when I say blow up, I'm not talking about natural flow of basically resonating with a group of people and naturally them gravitating to them. I'm talking about them coming on the scene in a way that already seemed artificial, and then them scaling up, artificially, because they're being promoted by others in order to create a following, so people are deterred or confused, or follow people thinking that they're enlightened or more social, more spiritually based, or they know what they're talking about. Now, if you haven't seen that over the years, I would really beg you to take a look at how social media has blown up over the last 10 to 11 years in an unnatural way, how they have infiltrated all of the social networks on every level. And if you think that it's natural, I would take a look at some of the bigger YouTubers and see where they began and where they come from. Listen, I'm always a fan of vetting everything out. And as a being who's been in the pseudo-conscious community alongside of the UFO and ET community, I've seen infiltration in a way that I've already accepted is AI based, meaning that it's artificial intelligence already having a general agenda base and setting out its own people so that it can deter the general populace from actually taking the frequency of legitimacy or true spirituality or true, or true intel, and creating what looks like a being that's enlightened, but basically a sub narrative that is also agenda based that comes along with that being that's so-called enlightened, or so-called is an intelligist, or so-called a whistleblower, or so-called metaphysically sound. You can generally see a basic, because, and we can bring up, thank you, Yasha, we can talk about Dr. Delbert Blair. Many of you who come from many different communities, especially the ET community, weren't even aware that Dr. Delbert Blair existed. And it wasn't because he wasn't a credible contactee. It wasn't that he wasn't a amazing metaphysician. It wasn't that he wasn't sound mentally. It was because he had a certain amount of information that was in aversion to the lies and the misrepresentation in the ETUF community that they didn't want you to see. So he wasn't ever promoted. He was actually quite censored and blacklisted on YouTube. Many of us found him there just by chance. And even when we promoted him or talked about him as those who maybe have a bigger voice or platform, if you notice the censorship or the non-even acknowledgement in the UFO and ET community, that lets you know that there is an agenda, an agent agenda that has always been part of the reason why we're allotted what we think are freedoms on social media, but in and itself, it is another jail system. It is another false freedom system that is quite monitored and quite controlled. Now, why does this come about in this conversation? Because it was interesting that I think there was a conversation on 2 different networks yesterday. I kind of segued, I got an invitation. Sometimes you guys send me invitations. I try to check out your channels or what you're sharing as often as I can, but I do have a life and I am twinning. So because of that, I haven't as much time to check everything, but I make sure I dive in when I can. What I notice is that there is again, another wave of pushing and propelling those who I know personally are agent provocateurs. Now, one of the ones that many of you know about, and it's really just no one I want to even promote, is Nature Nut. Nature Nut, he's been part of the social network. I personally, it's my opinion that he was agent sent out. A lot of times in that community, the preempt or the qualifications of someone being an agent, a governmental agent, it's not always secluded to, but usually they've been in the prison system or they were coming from a foster care system where they were controlled by governmental agencies. Usually what happens is that just like the MK Ultra that happens in many of the other communities, like the Love and Light communities, you'll see a lot of times in the Love and Light community, the preempt of someone's quote unquote coming into the Love and Light community, they usually segue from Satanists being in Satanist, child Satanist groups. A lot of times in a Love and Light community, you will see women that come into the love or the spiritual community by way of being part of cults or Satanist groups or child pornography. If you look into the background of some of the more light and Love and Light community, some of the women that bring in, have bigger platforms, you'll see that's how they segue in. And that also to me is a red flag saying that there's been some infiltration when they were little. Same with the brown community. Usually with the brown community and the conscious, pseudo-conscious community, the segue into the so-called conscious community is basically coming in through sexual trafficking or children jail system, the prison system. I always look suspect at someone. Now, mind you, I have to be careful when I say this. Listen, I didn't say everyone who's been in the prison system is an agent. I'm saying that is one of what I consider to be the criteria to coming in from an agent-based position. So there's a lot of brown men who've gone through the prison system based on being out of home court advantage in the matrix. So that's why it's very hard for you to decipher sometimes if they are coming from that sect naturally or if they've been inserted via agent provocateur agenda by governmental agencies. So that is one aspect of how they are put into the conscious community. Another way that they're put in there is usually you'll see that they're associated with beings that aren't very conscious. So usually if you see someone coming into the conscious community, but they're selling drugs, or they are, they are prostituting themselves, or they're sexually explicit, or like Nature Nut was a gay porn star. Those are aspects of previous lives that would have attachments to low field beings, or possibly come from being part of MK Ultra programs that have that sexual kind of explicitity that comes with creating children by manipulating them, sexually traumatizing them from young. And then as they get older, they kind of play out that system of that compartmentalizing of their brain and act in ways that would be less than savory and would allow for inception with deities and archons that would be attached to their auric field that, unless they were clearing themselves perpetually, would probably stay on them from, throughout the duration of their life. Okay, I personally, this is how I deem and see people who sometimes come out into what we consider to be social media as these so-called big YouTubers. I don't use that term. If anyone's upset that I use the term big YouTubers, I just heard, what's his name? What's the guy's name? Hasim Campbell. When he went into Burger King and he assaulted verbally that young woman in Burger King. I don't know if many of you know about that. He assaulted this one woman verbally in Burger King, a Latino woman, and he called himself a big YouTuber, and he was saying that's also another indication when you have, listen, if you are something, you never have to say it out. And if it came naturally, I don't think the ego would naturally be attached to it. That's just me as a woman who's a little more seasoned, sees people naturally. So I personally see when you have some of these quote unquote big YouTubers and they're always noting how big they are or how magnificent they are or how big their platforms are, that's also a detail that most likely it wasn't naturally an occurring process. Because if you have a channel and you've been on for a long time, if it's a natural occurrence, it wouldn't be something that you would have to denote. It would be something people denote to you. Okay, so when someone's always saying, oh, I'm saying I'm, usually you see that in the pseudo-conscious community, ego that precedes them. So also one of the criteria of those being incepted or agent-based or dark Kabbalist connected or Satanist based is usually there's a huge ego attached. Oh, I'm amazing. Or you'll see them decimate other platforms based on them or other platforms unable to have the same numbers. Hold on. I'm just doing my cinnamon warm. For anyone looking, I know you think I drink vodka all day. I am alcohol free. I am drug free. And that's why I'm hard to get infiltrated, because I'm not doing any of the dastardly things that most of these people are doing. So I'm just saying I drink water with cinnamon. There isn't any liquor in my elixir. Going back to it. Yes, so one of the things that you will notice is that the infiltration happens in a way that seems natural, but is unnatural, because the natural state of being on these sites is that generally there is a natural ebb and flow of people frequency, of you emanating a frequency, and that frequency going to people that are in alignment with you. It's natural. It's something that you will see. That's why I say, for those who call themselves big YouTubers, who go around talking about how big their platforms are, it's the same thing as Nature Not Eligio Bishop. He never earned money himself, so he would always talk about what he had, all his stuff, all his electronics, all the doom buggies he bought, because it wasn't coming from himself. They were from other people. And I personally think, this is my opinion, that man was getting and still is getting a stipend from the government. Which governmental sect, I can't tell you because I don't know personally, but I personally think he's getting a stipend from the governmental agencies as being able to infiltrate a certain community that they knew would come online and awaken and be able to keep their attention, whether it's good or bad. Because a lot of people think because someone keeps someone attention only for good, that means that it isn't infiltrated. It doesn't mean that. Sometimes there are beings who keep both the attention of both ways, attention good and bad, almost to the very, it's kind of like to an even level. Okay, so that's one of the things you have to take notation from. And like I said yesterday, I was invited on 2 different platforms. I just listened. I didn't want to talk on the platforms because it wasn't necessary. But they were questioning 2 particular women who are quote unquote big YouTubers. And, you know, I know one that I just don't resonate with. It doesn't mean she's a diabolical agent, but I just felt like her frequency was always emanating negative. Even in her conversation with other people or the way that she, her air was, it was always negative. So when I say negative, it just means it didn't align with me as a natural way of being. I personally think that she might, I don't think she's necessarily put into the social media from governments. I think the devils, I'm being honest, I'm gonna keep it 1,000. I think it's not always governmental agencies that infiltrate the social media. I think there are demons who have their own leagues of representations on YouTube and all forms of Facebook and social media. I personally think there are demons who are big enough, who hold a strong enough disposition in the other realms, who have their own personal representations, and you can feel it when you're engaging on their platforms. I think one of the young ladies that was in question, I won't mention her name because I'm not trying to get in, there's too many beefs online with people who want to say something negative about someone else. It's not that kind of party. Many of you probably already know there are beings on here. She just has a very negative feel. Even when she's discussing things, it's coming from a very insidious disposition. She has a very cold, far removed disposition, and she's able to captivate beings unnaturally, and she just looks artificial. So I'm just saying with her, I kind of felt like the sea stars were going in, like they have platforms where, and some of your sea stars, you know, just, you can acknowledge it. You don't have to necessarily go slamming people. There are beings here who are set up. You shouldn't be shocked. You should be shocked that once we took our attention away from the main networks, that they were going to infiltrate the sub-networks. You know that they do this. And it isn't always governments. It isn't always your happy Zionist stations who do it. There are leagues of demons who have just as much incentive or motivation to set up shop on social media so they can feed on your fear, your frenzy. They can get your information, you know, frequency wise, and they can utilize that person as a lure to grab your attention in order to attach to you in other ways. So that's 2. There was 2 young ladies that were talking about, 2 with notable, one had a really nice platform, a huge one, the other one more notable, and only one that I will say I personally think that she's planted by demons. I mean, a league, I personally think it's not leagues of demon. I think she's just part of the dark sect. And I think they placed her there comfortably. And, you know, she doesn't represent anything love and light. You know, she's just who she is. That's why I say I'm not going to mention her. It's not notable. If you know who I'm talking about, you just know. Because there was I don't know, there was like almost like 2,000, I don't know, 1,500 people on this feed yesterday. Big up to all the sea stars who are on there. They invited me on there. They were going ham because and these are, you know, you got to be careful attacking a demon seated person on YouTube, because remember, the demons preempt you. So they like to remember she's comfortable and she isn't afraid and she doesn't have protection on her outwardly, meaning that she's being protected by them in a different way. Just be careful going after people who have that kind of shield on them by the dark ones, because if you go at them on a public media network so overtly, you will get consequences. Remember, I tried to help this Satanist. Remember, Max Spears' girlfriend was getting attacked, and I tried to help her by going through her own, you know, Satanists like to claim that They claim her, not the Satanists, but you know, those in that Satanist field, that Luciferian field, they claimed her. I tried to help her through one of her people in that field, and they attacked me. So just be mindful attacking people social media wise that are attached to dark beings, because the dark beings know who you are. There's no limitation to them. There isn't any perimeters of time or anything that could cloak you. So if you come in for somebody who's dark, just know dark beings may, you know, if you have nightmares every time you talk about her, that means that she has, like I said, she doesn't have any outward protection on her. She doesn't have to wear any, you know, any medallions or, you know, anything. And that lets me know that she's being protected by something outside of herself that's strong enough to kick off out into the stratosphere, okay? So like I said, it was a lot of people talking about her and another one online. The other one I won't speak about, but I'm just saying I wanted to make this video because I felt like there's a lot of you feeling that those on YouTube, these big YouTubers, are infiltrated agents. Listen, if it looks like a duck and walks like a duck, it's a duck. And all you have to do as a person, if you feel that way, why give them attention? That's it. I don't feel like you should attack them. This is where I have a, oh, hold on. Uh-oh, they're trying to infiltrate already. Hold on. Oh, hold on. They're trying to infiltrate already. I see them trying to work with my security on my phone. If you see what I see right now, they're trying to infiltrate my computer right now. Hold on. This is what I'm saying, family. Hold on. Let me put my stuff up. It's a real deal, family. If you think this is fake, you can't fake the attacks. Hold on. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Hold on. Okay. Woo! They were trying to infiltrate my laptop. I had my laptop on and I could see it. So this is what I'm saying, family. A lot of times you have to be mindful of the attention you get, because attention is a form of feeding. So a lot of these YouTubers who have come from dark, basically agent incepted or planted, are all getting something from being in social media, being perpetuated to you. Utilize your discernment. You don't have to hate on anyone, make videos about you hating them, what they're doing. It's your attention that is fuel. So I wanted to make this video because when I'm seeing 1,500 people talking about 2 C-stars that are big notable YouTubers, and I know probably it's because they're feeling what is realistically most likely agent based, I just have to say that yes, you may be right. And if that's the case, you don't have to talk about it, just be about it. You know what I mean? By the fact that, like, Nature Knot is a prime example, people say that they hate this man, but they watch his platform every day. So basically, you saying you hate someone, but you're giving your energy to them. So that's a form of food. So you're feeding the crocodilians. So every time you talk about somebody, but you're quick to feed them with your energy and your attention, that's actually going against what you're saying that you represent. If you don't like Fleur Brune, this is what I tell people all the time. Listen, I am grateful for the family that we have, but if I'm not someone's cup of tea, I already say to them, peace. You aren't forced to be on this platform. My face, if it repulses you, if you feel like I'm eating too much, if you feel like I like to eat too much, let me give you more to repel you. I rebuke you and I'm gonna eat just so it offends you so you leave. Look. Oh my God. Oh, wait, let me eat some more. If me eating offends you, or the size of my bosoms are offensive, why are you here? You can take your attention to someone else's platform who you resonate with. We're good in our space. So this is where I say there has to be a rationality. There is AI infections all on social media. And you can usually detail by how much they're promoted and how much they aren't incepted. If you have someone, oh, thank you, Anna, I appreciate it. Thank you, Anna Maria. I appreciate it. If you see someone who says they're an Intellus and their feeds are going unhammed, I'm not saying that I'm the only one who's valid, but I'm coming from I'm a regular mom. I'm a mom who washes her laundry and her little ones. Well, I haven't washed it since I've been back. Too much information, but I wash my own laundry. I make my own food. There isn't any governmental checks coming this way, at least not as yet, until, we get retribution for the dark Kabbalists being bastards on this planet. But other than that, there aren't any governmental checks coming this way. There isn't a male profiteering me on his, I'm not dropping it like it's hot for a male so he can pay me some money. This is all me. I come to you makeup free, bags underneath my eyes. It is what it is. If you aren't in alignment with this, you shouldn't be on the channels. And this is the same for everybody else. Thank you, Mystery. Can't stop, won't stop. That's what I'm saying. So be more rational. Instead of making a feed on this dark and underworld woman that you feel something's wrong with her, instead of making a live chat about her, she's feeding off of this. The demons that you feel are attached to this young lady, they're enjoying it because you're giving them fuel. So the very thing that you say that you don't like about her is the very way that you're feeding her. Attention is a form of currency. If you are watching them, then you're feeding them. That's why I tell people all the time, if anything I do offends you, boob-wise, ways I talk, some things I can't remember, I'm eating all the time, I'm chunky. If that offends you, then why are you feeding me? Because you're giving me fuel. Every time you look at me, anytime you come to this platform, you're feeding me. If you don't like me, then you should be on another platform. This is what I'm saying. Be more rational. If you don't like Nature Nut, you don't see me going on Nature Boy's page or obsessing with him. Once in a while, I like to get news that he's being dealt with, but I'm not watching that man all the time. You know why I'm not watching? Because I don't like him. I don't want to give him my attention. He isn't deserving of it. I want to give my attention to people that I resonate with, that I feel in sync with. When the AI starts putting people like Hassan Campbell, what's his name? Brother Polite, what's the other one? Umar Johnson. Do you ever see me looking at their platforms? I won't give them a dime of my currency, my attention currency, because they're undeserving of it. If I hear something about them, yeah. Or I'll go to somebody else's platform. I may hear, somebody talking diabolical about the things that they're unfolding, yes. But me personally, if I am out of alignment of their frequency, I'm not rocking with them. And also you have to realize if beings that you respect and like are associated with beings that are diabolical, that is a detail that something is unbalanced. Either the person that you like is diabolical and you also have some diabolicalness about you that you're unaware of, shadow work needs to be done, then you need to realize that if that person that you like can hang out with a bunch of Satanists comfortably or can sit with child pedophilia, anybody who was, when Hassan Campbell talked about being molested by Boombada, and people were rallying around Boombada, though a man had been accused, not just by one big YouTuber, by several young men and women who said that he was molesting them and sexually abusing them in their youth in the Bronx. If you can associate yourself with someone who's even accused to that, I already question your status quo. Because people who are healthy will be around other healthy people. I know many of you heard your mothers or grandmothers or fathers say this. Birds of a feather flock together. If there are big YouTubers on here who associate with dark, like I've told you, I've seen big, quote unquote, big YouTubers who are hanging out with dark, dark lords. Once I see them hanging out with huge Satanists who I know are coming from platforms of doing dark, killing animals, doing dark sexual rituals and orgies, I already know what they rock with. Whether they visually look pretty or they talk wonderfully or they look abundant, that doesn't matter to me. Because it doesn't matter what you perpetrate or how you propagate yourself, is what you do. So it isn't what you say 99% of the times, it's what you do that matters to me personally. So that's why a lot of times I like to see people. So if you can't show me your eyes, like, you know, I used to like Paul Bergley, is his name Paul? He's another big YouTuber. I don't know what his platform. He's a preacher. Is it Paul Bergley? I think it's Paul Bergley. Paul Bergley. He's like a preacher. He always talks about the apocalypse coming, but he has great intel as far as what's going on, earthquakes, and so I love this channel. But lately, he's been wearing sunglasses at a time I know that the universe is showing us the shapeshifters. Why are you wearing sunglasses, Paul Bergley? We're okay with you being a reptilian. Are you scared that your Christian base might think you're a demon for the same way that you judge other people? Right? He's been wearing sunglasses. He said, oh, he has some sort of ear infection or something. Okay, but why are you on? Why can't you just dim the lights? Why are you wearing sunglasses, Paul? When I start seeing them wear sunglasses and they won't let me, if I can't see your eyes, and that's another thing with some of these new YouTubers like World News. This one, that's another one that's came on the scene who was known to come from another platform where he janked people's money. Like this is according to others. I don't know. This is a lot of sea stars and sun stars that this man came from Anika Jenkins' platform where he scammed a lot of money. Now this person is now in a pseudo-conscious community supposedly reporting on Nature Not. So you have somebody with the demeanor of Nature Not, actually worse because he's been accused of kidnapping. He has a rap sheet that goes a mile long, and this man rarely shows his face. There's a whole lot of people reporting on Nature Not who won't show their faces. If we can't see your faces, the legitimacy of who and what you are in your agenda speaks volumes. Again, I don't listen to what you say. I listen to partially what you say, but I listen to all of what you do. Okay, so I'm just saying that for all these people on, you know, social media calling themselves big YouTubers, like if a big YouTuber says they are all about woman empowerment and they're a male and they love the brown woman is God, whatever they have all these things. I think Polite said the brown woman is God, but all you're doing is running through yonis, brown yonis, like you ran out of food, like you're just basically a polygamist running through women. And you can't even hold a healthy relationship with one woman long enough in a healthy way just with her. Guess what? I know that you are set up to create a smoke screen for people to look at and emulate because you're probably rocking, like Brother Polite is always rocking some new sneakers, some new outfit. He's always in some mansion. He's a provocateur, personally, my opinion, set up by the government. So he looks, this is what I'm saying, family, he looks like he's like rich and abundant, but really in his life, and he talks about spirituality and loving women and women empowerment. And meanwhile, he was accused of molesting the child that we thought was his, which apparently was his daughter, not his daughter, but somebody else's daughter, who he ended up sleeping with. This is allegedly sleeping with from the mother he was sleeping with. Do you see what I'm mean? How dirty? So if they can't hold on to relationships and they're calling themselves, this is a keen way, family, for you to tell big YouTubers are full of ish. If everything that they say isn't coming to fruition in their personal life, okay? So if they say they're all about women empowerment, they love children, love everything about them, but they don't have any children around them, or they are violators of yonis, chances are they are set there, if not by a government, by dark archons who know that people are very, very gullible and like only looking at pretty things but can't see past the veil, okay? Same goes with these women. If she's talking about she's all energetically sound, she loves energy, but she can't sit in a room with people naturally without either drinking or cursing, or she's unable to resonate with anyone personally, or she's always in rifts with people. Listen, and that's another thing. If someone says that they're all family oriented, if they love family, like there's a couple of people who are all in this Nature Nut sect, and they always talk about their family oriented and they love family and children and they're trying to save his family, but their family dynamics are already chaotic, but they're trying to save an outside source more than they're trying to save their own family. That's a red flag, family. Give currency, give your attention to those who are in alignment. And you don't have to do it for anyone. You can literally just be within yourself and do for yourself. it isn't necessary for you to even be on social media watching anybody. Because usually if you're living your best life, you shouldn't have time to pay attention to everybody else's time. Okay, that's a setup. So I just wanted to make this, I'm not barking, and this isn't, well, it is shade. I was gonna say it isn't shade. It's shade. But after I didn't have to. I sat and listened to, I don't know if it was 150,000. I don't know how many people were on this feed, to be honest. Let me take that back, because I don't really know. I know it was a lot of people on this feed decimating this young C-star and another C-star. I don't really resonate with the other one, so I don't watch her videos unless it's sent to me and she's talking about something I want. But why are you paying attention to what she's doing? If you don't like her, if you personally think that she's a demon seated, which I know probably is correct, why even watch her? Why do you even care? Just, you could tell people, say, listen, I think she's a demon or planted by demons. Like, there was another C-star who was, she's a lunar. She's, what is her name? I forgot her name. Somebody, oh gosh, you guys, I forgot her name. I'm not going to give names anyway. This another C-star is a lunar C-star that many of you talk about, and you send me the most, probably the most revealing aspects of her. And you told me that she came from a Satanist sect. She was part of a Satanist cult as a child. If you think that that can be taken out of someone, listen, Satanist families are Satanist families because they have the gene pool that has been generationally incepted. So if this woman, unfortunately, is part of a cult of Satanists from a child, and all of a sudden they're into love and light community, chances are they're probably infiltrated by demons. And when I say demons, I just use that for, I don't believe in demons. I believe in entities, because we call them demons for not having any better placement of a word for beings that aren't, all light, love and light. Okay. So if she's coming from that, chances, I'm not saying she can't help herself. I'm not saying that family, but I'm just saying all of a sudden somebody's coming from a strong Satanist background who's been all kinds of MK ultra'd and traumatized, unfortunately, as a little child, but they come from a bloodline of witches and dark Satanists and Luciferian sects. That bloodline has demons that are attached generationally. And even if they clean themselves, they aren't in any position to hold a position of power. If they gain it too quickly and too strongly, chances are something's assisting them dark-wise and made them look like victims at the beginning so that they could place them in a pinnacle point later on. Because that's how the whole Jesus network works. You basically show someone as a sacrificial lamb, and people empathize with that, so you could put them on a bigger pedestal, so they could be worshipped. It's what is that called? It's like what is this? It's something in bait. Is it something in bait? I don't know the term you utilize for that. Okay, so you don't have to send me any more pictures of the diabolical ones. Whoever resonates with me is who I rock with. And occasionally it may not be all the time. I don't rock with everything everyone does either. Okay, so we need to be more rational. If you like someone for a moment, just for that moment in time, that just may be only moment that you like them, or something else may resonate with them. You don't even have to like necessarily them, but do know that your attention is currency. And there isn't any reason to support or to call out. Listen, support means to totally support what they do or call them out, because both is frequency, both is currency. If you hate someone, you're feeding them. If you love someone, you're feeding them. So better to stay in 0 point and stay neutral. And if you like something that maybe is being shared with them, go check them out. If you don't, but if you perpetually watching them every day because you hate them, I question that you hate them, and I also question your own disposition if you aren't necessarily part of that type of personality of that person, because you wouldn't be drawn to that person as much, even to hate them, unless an aspect of yourself resonated with them. Keep it at 1,000. So big up to all the big YouTubers who like to talk about how big they are, how big their balls are. Cheers to all the YouTubers who like to come on and talk about how big their platform is. It's just, listen to how irrational it is. if you are about it, you don't have to talk about it. You know what I mean? Don't talk about it, be about it. If you're a big YouTuber, you don't have to say it. If it was natural, if it was unnatural and all of a sudden you paid, like, I don't know. I heard you could pay on YouTube. I don't know if it's true. I don't really know if it's true. I heard you could pay for subscribers. I don't know if that's true though. So that's allegedly. So sometimes you think that a person has a platform full of, like, I seen it one time. It was this C-Star. It was one of our own. She just happened to have like 100,000. She was a novice. She said it wasn't hers. It was like 100,000 subscribers on her thing. It showed up on her page. I was like, how is that possible? But she said it was an accident. It was a spoof. But it happens to me. I have, what is it, 60-something thousand on the back lay of my page, and then it says 38. It happens. I don't know what that is. Somebody said people could purchase. Why would you want? This is my thing too. I don't know. Maybe I'm just becoming archaic. Why would you want to pay for subscribers? That means you're gonna have a whole host of people come into your page that don't like you. Because if you're paying for subscribers and you're talking about like UFOs or ETs or something crazy, you gonna bring a host of, I don't know, if maybe it's phantom. Is it phantom subscribers? Maybe that's it. I don't know. I just threw that out there because somebody said that when they were talking about this young lady. I don't know that that's true. So maybe I shouldn't share what I don't know. I've never seen anyone pay. I don't know that you can pay, but I heard you can. Let me eat some more. Wait, let me take a break and eat some more for those who don't like me eating. Hold on. That is to rebuke. That is to rebuke all the YouTubers who think I'm just a fatty on YouTube. Let me eat some more. Oh. Someone said, Flurburn, I read a comment on your page. They said you're a fatty and you like to eat. I said, they're right. Let me stop. I could be antagonistic. Maybe I like being thick and eating. Oh, my mother used to say I was antagonistic. I'm sorry. They mentioned that. I was like, why would I care? I do like to eat and I am thick. It is true. What am I going to be mad about? I'm going to eat some more. If they don't like it, they could go to another channel where somebody is emaciated and they don't eat. Maybe that's more of their frequency. Anyway, so big up to the big YouTubers who are on here based in AI. Big up to the, and also, oh, wait, I forgot to mention, there are beings on here that aren't real. Okay, wait, I forgot. I should have mentioned that at the beginning. There are AI beings on YouTube that aren't real. They are holograms. They are holographic beings. They aren't real. I know that for a fact. I forgot. You know, it's crazy because when I came on, that's initially what I wanted to talk about. There are holographic YouTube channels that aren't real. So you think that they're real beings. And you know they aren't real because they start shape-shifting. They used to look one way. That could be clones too, which is an artificial being. They used to be real, maybe at one point, and they may have been taken out, so their channel is still kept up under the pretense that they're still existing. I know one YouTuber, which people won't totally, there's two YouTubers, and two of the YouTubers that I know are questionable as far as being real, and their skin changed complexion. They used to be chocolate and now they're very light. Now someone had a dispute about this because they said one of them they think is bleaching his skin. He used to be a brown brother, but I personally don't think so. I think this being that looks like his skin changed, I think he's actually some sort of ET, like a holographic being that's cloaking itself, but it's not real because I've seen him change into a bird, like a beautiful, I think I've told you, I'm not gonna say his name. He turned into like a blue with, I think it was like yellowish nose. I saw him shapeshift. So I know there are beings on you. Don't believe anything until you could touch it. This is why the conferences, or you want to meet people, go and see where they are. Because some people on here aren't real either. They are artificial intelligence. They aren't real. They're actually holographs. And the big YouTubers, some of the biggest ones, those are the ones that are more suspects for being a party to something that isn't real, holographic. So if you can't taste, touch it, or verify it, don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. There are beings on here that aren't real. That's what I did forget to say that initially. Sometimes I just lose my thought because I came on and it took me a while to get on. So there are beings on there who aren't real. So if it looks artificial and it's always shape-shifting itself, sometimes they look one way and all of a sudden they look a totally different way. I'm not talking about people who gain and lose weight because that could happen to anyone. I'm talking about people who look like a whole nother being. Even the setting of their eyes or the way they talk or their teeth. I'm not talking about plastic surgery either. Because we could have nieces on here, and they'd be like, Fleur Brune, people get plastic surgery all the time. I'm being rational. I'm saying that one time they look a certain way, and then all of a sudden they look like there's one being. I know he's a shape-shifting bird being. I told you years ago, I don't want to blow his. He's got a huge following. A lot of people, you guys reference him. I think what he shares is pretty cool too. There isn't anything negative about what he shares, but I personally think he isn't human. Or the being that he was previously, because his skin looks bleached now. I think it's the holograph maybe changed. I don't know what that is. And then the other being, I don't even think he exists anymore. I think, or exists in a way that's not real. It's just my opinion. Sometimes Fleur Brune, sometimes I'm over the top, but I know for a fact that AI implants beings on here, big YouTubers that aren't even real. Okay? So if you can't verify it and it's saying things that resonate with you, just take it as that. Sometimes you have to, it's like television. You can't assume everybody on television is real. When you watch the news now and you see people shape-shifting, now you realize that Fleur Brune isn't all that crazy. Now when I get pictures you send me of newscasters with tongues flopping out of their mouths and their eyes basically unable to hide themselves, then you say, oh, Fleur Brune, we used to think you were all kinds of cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but we realized that you were telling us that we're living amongst beings that aren't real. Yes, they're all. Look at the news now. See, now you want to look at the news because I'm telling you, family, they can't shapeshift. When I saw the preacher online who's wearing sunglasses now, the first thing I thought is like, you even can't change. And he's a big YouTuber. I've listened to him for years. I actually like his shares. He always talks about the apocalypse. He likes to read the Bible stuff. I always, that's what I'm saying. I get over, he was always a nice guy, but now I realize he's probably not even a real person. He's probably some sort of shape-shifting being, which doesn't make him negative. It doesn't make him negative. It just means that maybe he's not ready to come out of the closet. Some people don't. Listen, AI is trying to call my phone. Listen, AI, don't try to ruin this share. You are an infiltrator. You have a copy and paste beings on here. YouTube, you know who they are because they're not even real accounts. So you put like 650,000 subscribers on there, knowing darn skippy they are, and all they are is a holograph that's following the pattern of what's popular on YouTube, and they're probably recommended to everybody. I'm just saying. So, again, to the Sea Stars, I'm sorry if you're upset at me for blowing your spot for making a feed on this dark Lord woman online. If she wants to be a Satanist and that's where she comes from a lineage of maybe she just dark. That's her business. Why are you watching her and making a whole 2-hour long talk about her? If you don't like her, just don't watch her. I'm not defending her. But she was never my cup of tea. Y'all know how I get down. If I'm not feeling somebody, I'm not promoting them. I'm not talking about them all the time, unless I feel they're hurting animals or trees or children. If I feel like they're abusing children or animals, yeah, I blow their spot. Yeah, I do. That I do. But other than that, if I'm not feeling one of these, because I'm about the sisterhood. So if there's women that are out of sisterhood or not very friendly with other women, there's another Sea Star and she's not a C-star. There's another woman online who just starts ish with everybody. She has a problem with everybody. She claims to be, an advocate for getting rid of nature knot online, and all she does is talk about that online. But like I said, she has issues with a whole bunch of women. So how are you going to be against nature knot but not be party to being cohesive with other people? I think that you're not telling the truth. I think you are just jumping on a bandwagon because Nature Knot has a league of doom of attention coming from all arenas, because he isn't human. I've showed the pictures of Nature Knot's eyes shapeshifted. This is another one. All she does is make videos on him, and she has issues within her own family dynamics, but she's trying to save his family. Listen, first rule of thumb, when you're on our airplane, put the mask on yourself. Take care of you, women. You take care of you and your home first. If my home life is in array, there isn't any reason I need to be online trying to save your family. Because the first rule of thumb is I need to save me and mine and fill my cup. When I come to you online, it's because my cup is overfilled. And you won't see me when my cup is half filled, which many of you see. If it's half filled, I need to replenish myself. You won't see me. You'll see me when I'm overfilled because I'm giving from my overfill. I won't give from my cup because I have little cubs. My cubs get from my till, and I get from my till. So you have to be mindful of those two who are sitting up here making sure that they are online daily, talking about other people's issues and so on. But meanwhile, they got a whole host of things going on with self. So you can actually tell their motivation or what their agenda is based on them being out of alignment with just the natural state of healthiness. So if someone's talking about saving other children or other families, or trying to save Velvet and her children, but their children are questionable in their homes, that's a sign that they're unhealthy. And they can call me all kinds of fake spirituality, but I'm just gonna have another cherry. I'm sorry. I'm being a little antagonistic. I apologize. Sometimes I am human too. So all I'm saying is that for everyone who's basically online, and like I said, the stimulus was me listening to a host of women bashing another a woman based on what they feel about her. And I feel like you could have been more productive on creating platforms for women who are authentic, or who are about goddessness, or who are about sisterhood, rather than making a whole feed on how someone's the devil or sleeps or binds with Satan. You could have had a whole 2-hour session on healing each other and ridding of all of the, the pain or the shadows. You know what I mean? So, we got plums. Who's eating plums? Warrior? At least I'm not eating plums. Prunes. Remember I was eating prunes? You're allergic to cherries, Miss Law? I'm sorry. There's a host of other fruits, though, that are yummy. Are you allergic to other berries, or no, they're just cherries? I wonder where you're from. This is interesting, you're allergic to cherries. I wonder what region you're from. Are you Norwegian? Because Norwegian women have a sensitivity to cherries sometimes, too. Or not even Norwegian women, women from parts of Africa. Where is it? I did a study on them years ago. Where are they from? It was Norwegian women I know that were sensitive to cherries, but there was also they were part of Africa. I forgot St. Thomas in Jamaica. Well, St. Thomas in Jamaica, you've got a lot of that Scottish, remember the Dutch, all that mixture in, because even though you're island people, you're mixed with a lot of the Dutch and so on. Okay, so I'm correct. All right, I think it's Norwegian in you. A little bit of that European based it's only a sect of a small, because I studied this. There's only a small sect of Norwegian women. It's very small, but they're allergic to cherries. And they're allergic to, what's the other one? There was another one, like rutabaga or something odd. Okay, they had a propensity of sensitive. Anyway, I went off on a thing. I appreciate it. Listen, and like I said to you, if at any time I offend you, or you aren't in alignment with me, you are more than welcome to not watch my shenanigans. Because sometimes I'm on some shenanigans ish too. Sometimes I'm just, sometimes I'm just in the mix of feeling a certain way. But just be mindful. That's all I'm saying. Be mindful, because again, and please try to keep me out of the mix of talking about other sea stars. I'm not in the party. One thing I do is I like to blow a lot of the men's the patriarchy spots. I just do, call me biased, because I feel like women have been so subjected and misogynistically hampered that a lot of times we're sick. So we still have to learn, and we still are healing ourselves from our competitiveness, our sneakiness, our self-pain and hurt. So sometimes, yes, see, sun stars, I am a little biased towards the sisterhood. So sometimes I give women more passes or more allegiance than I do males. I'm just like that because I realize that they have a higher jump, a higher fence to climb than males as far as that's concerned. Because males, you guys get it right with the brotherhood. Your loyalty to other men sometimes is infallible. It's amazing. I witness men who don't even like each other have more loyalty than some women who say they like each other. I witness that. So if you don't hear me blowing the names of women a lot of times, it's because I realize as a more seasoned sea star that it's unnecessary to throw them under the bus, even when they're acting heinous, okay? Because some of the sea stars do act heinous. The fighting that they do amongst each other is just insidious. But I also know that they're sick and they're suffering from low self-esteem and a lot of the tragedies of being abused, sexually abused or raped or traumatized by neglect. There's children on this planet have been the most subjected to harm and abuse. I'm not saying men have it, because little boys get abused too. I will say that I'm an advocate to protect little boys or little men that are harmed and abused, especially by other women that are sick. So, but I do realize there's a sickness amongst females, and that's why a lot of times you don't hear me throw females under the bus. Someone got upset on the other night where a sea star was talking about her issue with another sea star, and I was not going to abuse or throw another sea star under the bus because she was upset with them personally. It isn't my personality. We will get it right, but Fleur Boom won't be the one to throw you under the bus. Unless you poke me a couple of times, then I will throw you and your entire bloodline underneath the bus. If you do something harmful to me and my children, then you get what you get. But other than that, this online thing isn't that serious, and it isn't a need to attack people's family or to put pictures of people's children online and abuse and poke at them, or to put people's addresses online and try to get them attacked or abused. It's very sick. So these females are all sick. Whoever does that is mentally ill. And I understand that, and I have compassion for them, even in their sickness. So you won't hear me, rarely will you ever hear me throw another female's name under the bus, because we got to get it together. And in order for the sisterhood to come back online, we're going to have to basically hold each other's hands. And for those sick ones, we just got to basically look at them from a distance and hope that they get it together. And maybe throw them some remedies every once in a while, hoping that they'll take they'll take the medicine and just start, getting it together. You know what I mean? So that in itself, that's one of the things. Flurburn, I went all up through Jamaica, Queens, Bronx, Brooklyn, Manhattan, Times Squares this week. I love the diversity there. Parks, recreation, families, mom and pop stores. April, did you visit for the first time? It's New York is the bomb.com. Big up to all our New Yorkers on here, all of us. I'm a native New Yorker, grew up most of my life in New York. Big up to all our native New Yorkers on here, from the Bronx, Queens, Long Island, Staten Island, from uptown, downtown, Harlem, Manhattan, Washington Heights, West Side, East Side, North, Westchester County, upstate New York. Big up to all the New Yorkers. New York is one of the most valuable places in that it shows up in an incredibly diverse way. You have a multitude of different beings, and I don't just mean humans, who reside in New York, who are very cohesive with other beings. You won't see many cities that have Jewish, Muslims, Christians, brown, Latino, every kind of Latino, from Argentina, from Puerto Rico, from Dominican Republic. You won't see Jamaicans, Trinidadians, St. Lucians, Martinicans. You won't see Irish, Italian, Scottish, people from, Welsh background. You won't see that diversity ever play out so magically and so so symbiotically on a subway like you do in New York. Bigots all are New Yorkers. I mean, you could go into New York, you could sit on a New York subway right now and see at least 16 countries and nations represented, tongues and otherwise. And they sitting there chilling, just keeping it, you know, keeping it cohesive. It's a beautiful city. If you ever get a chance to visit New York, do so, especially summertime. I like fall. I like fall and spring in New York. You know, that was my favorite time as a child. I like to hang out in Washington Square Park. So big up to you, April, for enjoying yourself. You love the subways. It's very nice. Even with my little ones, I take them because they were used to mommy and daddy talking about being on the, we used to call it the Iron Horse. I don't know if that's an old term. A lot of us New Yorkers who took the subway, their dad used to call it the Iron Horse. We used to take the Iron Horse to go into school. I'm a native New Yorker, and I went to college in New York. So, you know, it's a beautiful place. Another place I really liked is San Francisco. I really appreciated there. I felt it was very diverse and beautiful. Cali has a beautiful feel as well. So, you know, oh, you guys are talking, you're blowing horses? The steel horse. Yeah, some of you still say the steel horse. I don't know if, yeah, we used to say the steel horse. I love taking the subway. It's where I got back and forth all the time. Or Metro North. Metro North is when you were a little bougie. My daddy could afford to have me get the Metro North pass to go back and forth to school. But for everybody else, you know, taking a 2 train, 1 train, 5 train, C train, D train, E train, F train, C, A. Taking it uptown, downtown, 5 train, 6 train. It's a beautiful thing. So if you ever get a chance to visit New York, this is a time to go. And, you know, especially if you have young people who are students, I'm always an advocate as a teacher to have your daughters and sons. They have really great summer programs, dance programs in Harlem. They have a wonderful program that you can take your family to see off-Broadway plays or on-Broadway plays for inexpensive if they're a student. I think they still do that. They have the student discount. If you're a student, you know, the seats are a little off, but you get to sit in really great seats for less than half the price in the Broadway plays. So you should always check that out. If you're, at the time, I think after 9/11, they were allowing CPNs and doctors and stuff to get discounts too, who are in the local area. But if you are definitely a teacher or a student, definitely check out off-Broadway and on-Broadway plays for less than half the price. Okay, so, you know, us New Yorkers know that, who used to be in the city all the time. You were in Mount Vernon? Yeah, I'm from Mount Vernon, New York, for anyone who doesn't know. Money earned in Mount Vernon. So right next to the Bronx, Westchester County, you know. So it's a beautiful place. I'm grateful. I'm really grateful my parents came to United Snakes of America. If I don't tell you that all the time, I'll tell you today. And I appreciate every opportunity that I've been allotted living in this country. So I don't take that for granted, especially going to Brazil. So as much as I talk about shapeshifters or aliens or people who are big YouTubers, I'm really quite balanced in that way. I think that all of us need to be cohesive in our healthy lakes and ponds and oceans, you know, but sometimes you got to call a spade a spade. You know, you big YouTubers, we see you. And we know some of you are incepted or planted by the government, and you need to stay in your lane, because a lot of you YouTubers are going to go down. Like already, I think Hassan allegedly is already on some sort of he's an investigation. He's being investigated. All of these, and let me just state this again. All of these holographic YouTube pages and all these AI-based agent pages, they're all being revealed. Alex Jones was one of many. They're all being revealed. The only thing with Alex Jones is I think that he was, I'll say okay, allegedly, I think he was a readmittance, like he used to be another character, like a comedian, and then he came back in a rejudged form, put on as a provocateur on YouTube, and he did quite well, okay? So right now, the age of Aquarius is blowing spots. So if anybody, listen, if any of you vegans are having hamburgers on weekends at Mickey D's, we gonna see you. If any of you say that you are in love, you know, in the pseudo community, say the black woman of God. If any of you fake YouTubers say that you believe the black woman is God, and you're mistreating or dishonoring or hoarding yonis, we'll see you. So, and all of you who say that you're all love and light, and you're doing yoga all day, but you're intolerant to your own sisters, or you're abusive to other women, or you're not even capable of having healthy relationships based on your lack of doing shadow work, we will see you. So there isn't any reason to be upset or try to even blow spots, sea stars and sun stars. They are being revealed. It is unnecessary. You will see Fleur Broom walk outside. You know how many people catch me somewhere? I'm the most approachable YouTuber you could possibly meet. I get people who approach me at Universal Studios. I'm going to get bamboo toilet paper at my holistic store. I'm going out to sneak out to get Starbucks, which I don't hide. You will see me in so many different scenarios, and guess what? You'll see me just like you do today. Somebody saw me yesterday. What was it at? Oh my God, where was it? Where was I yesterday? Hold on. He saw me yesterday at Trader Joe's. I was at Trader Joe's while my little ones were with my mother. I went running in because, I like to get everything quickly. He recognized me as Fleur Brune on this site, and he just was staring at me. I guess he was a little nervous because he was like, oh, snap, she's real. He was looking all in my cart. Yes, I am a real person. I go grocery shopping. Sometimes you'll see me talking about aliens inside of the grocery stores. I keep it 1,000. The same thing you hear me talk about, you will walk and whisper and hear whispers of me talking to regular people. I am this person. And that is probably why my channel is the most infiltratable, the most glitched out channel, because they want you to think that all these fake big YouTubers are real people. They aren't supportive of those who are in the reality of the truth. I am very much a contactee. I've seen and engaged with beings beyond the perimeter of even you being accepting of. I am in a state of awakening that supersedes the level of most of humanity, and I'm unapologetic about it. And I can come on YouTube without makeup, without lipstick, without combing my hair, sometimes without a bra. And I'm okay with it. And eating and being chunky and being fasting. It's just what it is. But I will be unapologetic. I'm a woman of a certain age, and that's what it is. And if you want to verify some of these big YouTubers, see how real they are in their real life. If you are unsure, you should be able to utilize your spiritual discernment. But someone said burn the bras. We should have a bra burning ceremony. Don't get me started, because you already know YouTubers. We start burning. We burned the bra before. I'm down. We should definitely have a ceremony. We should do it during the next full moon. Anyway, bras are abusive, and they're created by the patriarchy. There isn't any man that wants to put a restraining wired bra on their bosoms. It is painful when we come in the house, those bras get taken off. We feel like we're free. If we could walk around with our bosoms just bouncing all around. Listen, I like walking without a bra, but they threaten to arrest me because I'm not wearing a bra. My previous mate, Kirk, the worst thing he used to see my bosoms. He loved my bosoms in person. That was his favorite. That was his favorite part of me. Not his favorite, but he liked my bosoms, but he certainly didn't like to see anybody talking about them on YouTube. Big up to Kirk. That poor thing. As a Sagittarius, I can mess with people's peace of mind. Yeah, because it's radiating. Don't get me started. You already know I'm getting started. If you wear bras with metal, all this radiation, all these emitting of elf waves is going through our brassieres, basically nuking our breasts. And not even that, they want you to get a mammogram every year so they can nucleify your breasts. So then when you eventually find something, it'd be like, yeah, because you're radiating your breasts I don't even know when they start doing the radiating of your breast. Why would you want to do that? Crazy society. Anyway. Anyway, let me get off here, family. I'm going I'm going left at this point. When we start talking about brassieres and bosoms, you already know Fleur Brune's going left. Anyway, family, so this video was for the big YouTubers. We see you. You aren't fooling anybody. I could care less what you do, because your spot is going to be blown anyway. If you're okay being who you are, truly, then just be okay with it. But don't be sad or concerned that people will blow your spot. And again, if you know of any big YouTubers that you know to be infiltrated agents or dark lords, they called her the what they call her, the dark lord hench wench or something. I've never even heard these terms. You millennial be making some terms up, boy. The millennials have all these terms. They have like thottery. They have like wench or bet. I don't never heard anything like this. You guys have term. You guys have term. Maybe we were like that in Generation X. I'm from Generation X. You know, we had other terms. We used to say like say word and things like that. Y'all have terms for everything. They called her the dark wench or dark lord's wench or something. I was like, you've gone too far. If in fact you don't like someone, stop watching them. If indeed you feel that they are evil, stop talking about them, because in that itself, your attention is feeding them good or bad. If you talking about them, you're their biggest propagating advertisement. So if in fact you say that you aren't about those who aren't representing what you feel you're representing, the only thing you need to do is turn away and keep it moving. All right, so that's all I want to say. Big up to all the YouTubers who are here infiltrating through the governmental system and through AI. Your days are probably done. It's numbered. Pole shift's coming anyway. With all the technology going to go down, so you won't even have a platform. You know, let's see how Nature Not comes away from his recent incarceration from Nicaragua. It's gonna be interesting. Anyway, family, I'm gone tonight. Check me out on Aquarius Rising 9th Gate. I'll be right back here with our Sea Star. We're talking about the children being infiltrated through propaganda, and also we'll talk about a transference of wombs into beings now at this particular time on this planet. It's gonna be an interesting topic. I am doing it live on YouTube tonight, just for a kickoff. Then I'm pulling the video off and just putting it, you can catch it on Patreon, all right? So I love you. Join tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern. It should be, hopefully I'll get I'm trying to figure out how to do Google. This is how Flurburn is not about technology. I can't even figure out Google Hangouts. It's sad. It's sad. AI, why don't you help me figure out Google Hangouts? They won't help me. Anyway, I love you. I'll see you later, and peace. If I can.